April 9, 2014, Yankee Stadium, New York, New York. Masahiro Tanaka would make his first official start on American soil, and his first start in Yankee Stadium in front of the New York fans. Tanaka pitched well in this game. He got into some trouble in the second inning, but other than that, he was lights out as he recorded 10 strikeouts and left the game with a score tied at 3. Tanaka would receive a no decision for this game, and the Yankees would end up losing later in the 9th inning when Baltimore scored 2 runs against Shawn Kelley. The Yankees did rally in the bottom half of the inning and scored a run, but the Orioles would win 5-4. In the first inning, to lead off the game, Masahiro Tanaka would first face Nick Markakis. Tanaka threw a first pitch sinker, and Markakis grounded the ball to Derek Jeter for the easy out. Delmon Young was the next batter of the inning. Tanaka started him off with a first pitch sinker, which was called strike 1. The second pitch was a splitter that Young swung and missed at for strike 2. Now with the count 0-2, Tanaka threw another sinker, but it was called a ball. Young fouled off the fourth pitch of the at-bat, which was a splitter. Then Tanaka threw another splitter for the fifth pitch, but Young hit it to left field for a double. Now with the man in scoring position, Chris Davis came to play, and Crush, as he is known, is one of the most dangerous sluggers in the major leagues, as he had 53 home runs in 2013. So this would be a great duel with the entire world on the edge of their seats to see what would happen with these two greats facing off head-to-head. Tanaka led off with a fastball, which was called for ball 1. The second pitch was a splitter that Davis took a chop at as he swung and missed for strike 1. Now with the count even at 1-1, Tanaka reared back and threw a fastball that Davis lined to first for the second out of the inning, and Young was not able to advance as he remained on second base. This would bring up Adam Jones with 2 outs and a man on second. Jones is one of the better center fielders in the majors. He has great skills at the plate. Jones can hit for power and for average. This was just as exciting and at bat as the previous one, as Tanaka was facing one of the better lineups in baseball. The first pitch was a splitter that Jones swung and missed at for strike 1. Tanaka followed with a splitter that Jones swung and missed at for strike 2. Now up in the count 0-2, Tanaka would throw a fastball for a ball, followed by a splitter for a ball. The count was now even at 2. Tanaka then reared back and threw a 94-mile-per-hour fastball, his fastest pitch of the inning thus far, and Jones swung and missed as Tanaka recorded a strikeout and got out the inning with a man stranded on second base. The Yankees came to bat and Brett Gardner got on with a single, but Jeter grounded into a double play and Ellsbury then grounded out to end the inning. Leading off the second for the Orioles was Matt Wieters. Tanaka started him off with a sinker called ball 1. Wieters fouled off the second pitch, another sinker, evening the count at 1. Then Tanaka threw a splitter for ball 2, and the fourth pitch was a fastball that Wieters lined to right field for a single. Now with 1 on and no outs, one of the most productive sluggers in this young season came to bat as Nelson Cruz currently has a .500 slugging percentage and a pair of home runs. Tanaka started Cruz off with a splitter for strike 1, and then a fastball called ball 1, even the count at 1. And on the third pitch, Tanaka threw a splitter for strike 2. Now up in the count 1-2, Tanaka would get Nelson Cruz swinging at a splitter for strike 3 and the first out of the second inning. Steve Lombardozzi then came to the plate, and on the first pitch, Tanaka threw a sinker for strike 1. On the second pitch, Tanaka threw another sinker, and Lombardozzi hit the ball to left field for a single as the ball bounced off the third baseman's glove, and Wieters advanced to second base. Ryan Flaherty then came to the plate, and Tanaka started him off with a curveball for strike 1. The next pitch was a splitter that went into the dirt for a ball, but neither runner advanced. Tanaka threw another splitter for the third pitch, and Flaherty fouled it off for strike 2. Now with count 1-2, Tanaka threw yet another splitter, and Flaherty grounded the ball to Johnson at first, who threw to Jeter for the force out at second, and Lombardozzi was out, but Wieters was safe at third, and Flaherty was safe at first. So now with runners on the corners and with 2 outs, Jonathan Schoop came to the plate. Schoop has been playing third base in replacement of the injured Manny Machado until his return and has seen little big league action. Tanaka started Schoop off with a slider called ball 1. Tanaka then threw a splitter, and Schoop took it yard to the short porch and left for a home run as the Orioles jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Nick Markakis would now come to the plate for his second at-bat of the game, and on the first pitch, Tanaka threw a sinker for ball 1. On the second pitch, Tanaka threw another sinker, which Markakis fouled off for a strike. Markakis would foul off the next pitch as well, which was a fastball. Now with the count 1-2, Tanaka threw a slider, and Markakis swung and missed for the strikeout to end the inning, as Tanaka came back from letting up a home run to strike out the very next batter. Carlos Beltran would lead it off for the Yankees in the bottom half of the inning, and he led off the inning with a solo shot to right to make the score 3-1. Brian McCann would then ground out, Soriano flew out. Kelly Johnson then came to the plate and he hit the Yankees' second solo shot of the inning, also to right but more towards center than Beltran's home run. The score was now 3-2 as the Yankees cut the Orioles' lead to 1. Brian Roberts then walked, but Solarte flew out to end the inning. Delmon Young would come up to bat to lead off the third for the O's. The first pitch was a sinker that Young fouled off for strike 1. Young then fouled off a fastball for strike 2 before fouling off a sinker on the next pitch. Then on the fourth pitch of the at-bat, Tanaka threw a slider, and Young swung and missed as he struck out for the first out of the third inning. Chris Davis then came to the plate. Tanaka led him off with a curveball that Davis swung and missed at for strike 1. Tanaka then threw a sinker, and Davis grounded up the middle of the center for a seeing-eye single. Adam Jones then came to the plate, and Tanaka started him off with a fastball that Jones took a chop at and missed for strike 1. The second pitch was a sinker that Jones fouled off for strike 2. Tanaka then threw another sinker, but Jones took it for a ball. The fourth pitch was a splitter that Jones fouled off to stay alive. Tanaka then threw another splitter, but it went into the dirt for ball 2. Tanaka then threw his third splitter in a row, and Jones fouled it off to extend the at-bat. Tanaka then went back to the sinker, and Jones struck out swing for the second time in this game as Tanaka had his number. Matt Wieters then came to the plate with 1 on and 2 outs. The first pitch was a splitter in the dirt for ball 1, followed by another splitter for a ball. Now with the count 2-0, Tanaka threw a sinker for a strike, and then a second sinker for strike 2 to even the count. The next pitch was a splitter in the dirt for ball 3, and with a full count, Tanaka went to the fastball and hit 95 miles per hour on the radar, but it was called a ball for the walk. Nelson Cruz now came to the plate, and with 2 on and 2 out, and with a runner in scoring position. The first pitch was a sinker called ball. The second pitch was a fastball also called for a ball. Now down in the count 2-0, Tanaka kept his cool and threw a sinker that Cruz took a mighty chop at and missed for the first strike of the at-bat. Tanaka then threw another sinker, and Cruz took another chop at it and missed again, this time for strike 2. Now with the count even at 2, Tanaka threw a splitter and got Nelson Cruz swinging for the strikeout for the second time this game and for the third strikeout of the inning as he stranded 2 to end the inning. So after letting up that home run to Schoop, Tanaka would get 4 strikeouts for the next 4 outs. The Yankees would go down in order in the bottom half of the inning as Gardner flied out, Jeter struck out, and Ellsbury flew out. Steve Lombardozzi would lead off the fourth for Baltimore. The first pitch was a sinker fouled off for strike 1. The second pitch was a curveball for ball 1. The next pitch was a fastball fouled off for strike 2, followed by a sinker fouled off as well. Now with the count 1-2, Tanaka threw a splitter that Lombardozzi grounded to second, and Roberts threw him out for out number 1. Ryan Flaherty then came to the plate. Tanaka started him off with the slider that was called for a ball. Tanaka then threw the second slider, which was also called for a ball. The next pitch was a sinker fouled off for strike 1. The next pitch after that was a fastball called ball 3. The count was now 3-1. Tanaka then threw a sinker, and Flaherty popped it up to third for the second out of the inning. Now with 2 outs and no one on base, Jonathan Schoop came to the plate. The first pitch was a sinker for a ball. Tanaka then threw another sinker, and Schoop fouled it off for a strike. Now with the count even at 1, Tanaka threw a fastball, and Schoop grounded out to Jeter for the third out of the inning. So in the fourth, Tanaka set down the side in order. Carlos Beltran led it off for the Yankees in the bottom half of the inning and doubled to right field. Brian McCann then flew out to right, but Beltran was able to move over to third. Alfonso Soriano then grounded out to short, but was able to score Beltran from third to tie the score at 3. Kelly Johnson then struck out swing to end the inning. Now in the top of the 5th, Nick Markakis would lead off the inning. Masahiro Tanaka threw a curveball on the first pitch, and Markakis flew out to center field for out number 1 in the inning. Delmon Young then came to the plate, and Tanaka threw a sinker on the first pitch for strike 1. Tanaka followed up with another sinker, but this time Young lined it to center field for a single. So now Chris Davis would come to the plate with one on and one out. Tanaka started to crush off with a sinker that was called ball one, then followed up with another sinker for ball two. Now down in the count to the big slugger from Baltimore, Tanaka went to the splitter and got Davis to swing for strike one. Then Tanaka went back to the splitter and got Davis swinging again to even the count at two. Tanaka then reared back and let go a 93-mile-per-hour fastball that caught Davis looking for strike three and the second out of the inning. Adam Jones was next up, now with two outs and Young still on first base. Tanaka started him off with the splitter and got Jones swinging for strike one. Tanaka then threw a sinker and Jones hit it up the middle for a single, advancing Young to second to make it 2 on and 2 out. Matt Wieters was now in the batter's box with Nelson Cruz in the on-deck circle, so the pressure was now on in New York, New York. Tanaka started Wieters off with a sinker that went into the dirt for ball one, but Tanaka showed nerves to steal as he threw another sinker and got Wieters swing for strike one. Then a fastball fouled off for strike two, and on the fourth pitch, Tanaka went back to the sinker and got Wieters swinging to end the inning. The Yankees would get a couple of singles in the fifth, but they would strand Solarte and Jeter when Ellsbury lined out to left field with 2 outs to end the inning. Tanaka cruised through the sixth inning, and Nelson Cruz happened to be the leadoff hitter in that inning. Tanaka threw a sinker on the first pitch of the at-bat, called for a ball, and then he got Cruz to fly out to center field on a fastball. Steve Lombardozzi would come up to bat next, and Tanaka started him off with a 72-mile-per-hour curveball for strike one, and then Tanaka threw a 93-mile-per-hour sinker that Lombardozzi lined out to left field. So Tanaka switched speeds from 72 to 93 miles per hour from one pitch to the next. Ryan Flaherty came to bat next, and Tanaka started him off the curveball for ball one, then came back with a splitter that Flaherty grounded out to second as Roberts got the easy out at first to end the inning. So in the sixth inning, Masahiro Tanaka threw 6 pitches as he seems to get better and better as the game goes along. In the bottom of the inning, the Yankees went down quick after a Beltran single. The can then grounded out into a double play and Soriano struck out. Leading off the seventh for the Baltimore Orioles was Jonathan Schoop, who earlier in the game hit the second home run of his young career and the first home run of this year for the young third baseman. Tanaka threw a first pitch sinker called ball one, then a splitter called ball two. Now down in the count 2-0, Tanaka went back to the sinker and Schoop fouled it off for strike one. Then he fouled off another stinker for strike two. Now with the count even, Tanaka threw a fastball and got Schoop swinging for the strikeout. Nick Markakis now came to the plate with 1 out. Markakis fouled off a sinker for strike one, then grounded the sinker back to the mound as Masahiro Tanaka tossed him out at first for out number 2. Delmon Young then came to the plate, and on the first pitch, Tanaka threw a splitter for strike one. Then Tanaka threw a second splitter. This time Young swung and missed for strike two. Tanaka followed with a third splitter, and Young swung for strike three. Tanaka set down the side in order and struck out 2 of the last 3 batters he would face in this game as he was done pitching for the night and would not come out for the 8th. The Yankees would go down in order in the bottom half of the 7th. Adam Jones would be stranded on first after a single off Adam Warren, who had come into the game for Matt Thornton, who struck out Davis. In the bottom of the 8th, Brett Gardner led off the inning with a double for the Yankees, and Jeter moved him over to third with a sac bunt. The Yankees would strand Gardner on third as Ellsbury popped up to third, and after a walk, McCann flew out to center to end the inning. Sean Kelly came in to pitch the ninth for the New York Yankees and got into trouble, letting up a double to Flaherty, then a single to Schoop, and a single to Markakis as Flaherty came around to score as Baltimore took the lead 4-3. Then Delmon Young singled and the bases were loaded for Chris Davis. Davis managed to pick up an RBI on a sac fly as Schoop tagged up and came in to make the score 5-3 Orioles. Adam Jones then struck out and Wieters grounded out to end the inning with runners stranded in scoring position. Tommy Hunter then came in to pitch the ninth for Baltimore and closed out the game. Soriano led off the inning with a double, and then Kelly Johnson singled, and it was runners on the corners with no outs. Brian Roberts then hit a long ball to deep right field, and Markakis caught it, and Soriano tagged up and scored to make it 5-4 as the Yankees cut the Orioles' lead to 1 with 1 out and the tying run on and the winning run at the plate. Solarte would then ground into a double play and the game was over as Tommy Hunter picked up the save for the O's. Brian Mattis gets the win and Sean Kelly gets the loss. Masahiro Tanaka pitched 7 innings, allowed 7 hits and 3 earned runs, and recorded 10 strikeouts and 1 walk. He now has an ERA of 3.21, and he got a no decision in this game, so he's still undefeated in the major leagues. Carlos Beltran was 3 for 3 for the Yankees with 1 RBI and 2 runs scored, and Kelly Johnson was 2 for 4 with 1 RBI and 1 run scored as well. And for the Baltimore Orioles, Miguel Gonzalez pitched 6 innings, allowed 7 hits and 3 earned runs, recorded 2 strikeouts and 1 walk. Delmon Young was 3 for 5. Adam Jones was 2 for 5. The player of the game was Jonathan Schoop, who was 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored, and a home run. So the Baltimore Orioles win the game 5-4.